All right, guys. Guys from last night, guys, got confirmed with Huff this morning. He does have a torn ACL. They don't think there was any meniscus or anything, so it's as clean as it could be for just being ACL. Shamar Jean Charles still has shoulder. He'll be day-to-day this week. And all other injuries, if there are any, will come out later today. It's still a little bit early for us, so go ahead.
Kyle, how do you feel about just the prospect of moving forward with Ji'Ayir Brown, and what have you seen from him that has enabled him to put himself in that position to step in and start?
I mean, that's one of the reasons we went for him. We know we needed some depth there, and the coolest thing about him is he's been practicing. I think you heard it from guys yesterday, but the way he's been practicing here every week, he's been practicing like he knew this moment was coming. He's been locked in. It's extremely impressive for a rookie, and I think that's why he was ready for his moment last night and made some big plays that helped us win. So excited for him for his opportunity, but really bummed about Huff.
Kyle, how would you say Talanoa was playing before the injury?
I thought he started out well. I thought he hit a little lull during the season in our skid, and I thought he played one of his best games versus Jacksonville, and I thought the same thing was going to happen here, but I thought he was going to end up having a real good year.
Al, what's your assessment of the defense overall? It's been seems like better games performance-wise.
Yeah, I think they did I think 2 weeks in a row they've really played really well versus the run. Did a good job making the team one-dimensional. I think they rallied big time, especially down there in the red zone, keeping them out on all those opportunities they had. They did a good job getting their hands on the ball, and not just with the PBUs, but also getting the turnovers. And I thought the pressure was pretty consistent through the games. I think we've had 2 in a row going the right direction.
Hey, Kyle, what happened with Charvarius Ward? Did he bang knees or something? And then I guess just how he's played the last couple of games, getting some key pass breakups.
Yeah, I thought he had a hell of a game. I mean, some of those, I thought he had extremely good coverage on a number of those completions, too. I thought Baker had some really good throws and some tight coverage, but they had to be perfect because he was real sticky all day, got his hands on a number of balls. Would have picked that Hail Mary, but he did what he's coached to do. He knocked it down, so I thought that was good for him. But yeah, I didn't get any reports on him being hurt and talking to him after the game. I just think there was a collision that, I don't know, knocked the wind out of him or what on that one play, but he ended up having no issues.
Kyle, is there a time frame for Talanoa's surgery, and would he be expected to be fully recovered or at least ready for the 2024 season?
Yeah, just with the timing he did it, he'll need a plan for training camp, but with the time and everything goes smoothly, he should be ready for week 1.
How did Brock Purdy's film look a day later? Not even a day later, but how did it look?
It looks a lot like it did live. I mean, he played at a real high level, made real good decisions, was very smart with the ball, and he played like his numbers looked. It was very impressive.
I asked a question yesterday after the game, Kyle, about if teams are playing him to take away the underneath stuff. I guess my bigger question is that when he came out of the draft, there's a lot of talk about his arm strength. Has that been any hindrance at all for him? And maybe is his arm even stronger than you thought it was when you guys drafted him?
I think it's definitely stronger than what we thought it was when we drafted him. But we saw that the first day out of rookie minicamp. I think when people talk about arm strength, can he sit there and take 3 hitches and make the wrong decision and just wait and throw it 70 yards down the field? Probably not. But when do you ever want a guy to do that? On a Hail Mary, maybe. But you like guys who can make all the throws and the timing of the play, which is usually going by the right decisions and when to throw it deep, when to throw it short, when to check it down, when to go over the middle. And Brock's always had the arm strength to make all those throws.
Kyle, now that you've had 2 games with Chase Young, what is he bringing to this defense?
Chase is a real good rusher, and he's really physical versus the run. So just adding to the collective unit, which has been huge for us. We try to have strength in numbers with our D-line. We try to keep them fresh. We try to keep them going. So it's not just having to depend on one or two guys to make O-linemen miss to get sacks. It's creating edges on people, making the quarterback move, making the quarterback watch the rush. And when you have more guys out there, it's really what makes it go. And adding Chase has been a huge one for our unit, and that helps everyone else. And then he individually is good enough to make the plays too, which he's gotten those ops and he's come through with them.
Paul, do you have
earlier in the
Seahawks? Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Kyle, early in the game, Elijah Mitchell went in for a series, didn't go back in much else. Was there Christian needing a break, or was it just a change of pace?
No, all of that's when Christian had gone 18 plays in a row, and Bobby will get on the headset and say, "Hey, Kylie's gone 18. I'm going to start this series out with Elijah. You good with that?" And I say, "Yeah, go ahead." And then we started out that way, and we just rotate Christian usually when it gets to a third down. But we try to mix it up, so you try to balance it out as well as you can. That's kind of what happened to us in that Rams game back in week 2 when all the times we were going to take him out to spell him, there was a timeout or a 2-minute warning or something. He ended up getting his rest. So you always want to rest Christian. It's hard to take him out because how good he is in every phase of the game. But we also got some really good backups too, so we got to make sure we mix them out to keep them healthy and fresh, and it's real random with that and how it goes.
You guys are I think a one touchdown favorite going into Seattle, which is the biggest I think that the 49ers have been since going up there since realignment in 2002. Is that gambling stuff aside? That reflects pretty well on where this team has come in the last couple of weeks. So just how do you feel about the team's momentum and just the challenge that it is playing up there?
Anything that you start out with numbers like that and stuff, that's all just setups. So I don't think about that at all. But I don't care what the situation, who's playing, what the teams are like. You go up to Seattle, it's as hard as it gets. It's one of the toughest places to play in the NFL, if not the toughest. They have a certain style there and the way they play that is harder to deal with on the road because of how loud it is and the snap count disadvantage. So it's always tough to go there. And I also know, just starting with them today, how many good players they have, how well they're coached, and how big of a challenge it'll be this Thursday.
It looks like Geno Smith and Walker might be legitimately questionable. Does their kind of iffy status change anything about the way you guys prepare?
No, it doesn't. You never know anything for sure, but regardless, it doesn't change anything. You always got to assume they're going to be there, but if they're not going to do anything differently.
And also, the defense played, I think, 71 snaps, which is maybe a little bit more than normal. I assume you're going to get them off their feet a lot this week anyway, but just as their workload Sunday change the way you might tweak the schedule?
No, the schedule's just tweaked as much as it can be. We don't do one thing full speed. We don't see them today. If we let them sleep in more tomorrow than usual. No, so, and 70 is not that bad. It could be a lot worse. You wish it was better, but no, we can't tweak any more than we do.
All right. Kyle, have you ever coached on Thanksgiving before? And my follow-up to that would be, what's your most fondest, your greatest memory of just Thanksgiving football? And that could be, whether you're coaching, whether it's as a kid with your dad coaching.
I always loved Thanksgiving growing up because you just get to watch football all day, and usually wait for my dad to get home when we all sit there starving, and he gets home about 5 minutes before our meal. That's usually a few hours later than everyone else's, so we're all irritated with him, and now I'm in that role. But no, we got to play on Thanksgiving in Dallas when I was at Washington, and we had a huge win. I think we started out 3-6 that year and had to go on a big run, and we had a big game versus Dallas, which I feel like led our team for the rest of the year to get to the playoffs. So that was one of the more fun Thanksgiving days I've had in the NFL.
Anything else, guys?
Kyle, George
yeah.
seems to have been having higher production lately. Is it just him playing better? Is it opportunities? What's led to his uptick in production?
Honestly, when George just strings together healthy weeks, it's always just a matter of time for him. George does so much in the run game and the pass game. The way he plays, every now and then he gets some setbacks, which take him back a little bit, make it a little harder for him to practice and things. But once he gets healthy and can get a few weeks in a row, it always takes care of itself. George is so explosive and consistent at what he does. We went into that game not sure how many opportunities he would get, and he ended up getting more than anybody. And that really, you're not just looking at the openers or anything thinking that by any means. You don't really think that with any of our guys. It's pretty balanced, and you just see where the coverages take it. But the way George plays, the way our offense is, how things tie into the run and the pass game together, and how good George is, that it's usually something we don't have to force. It's just a matter of time.
Okay, one more.
Obviously, there's a huge amount of familiarity between the teams. I think this will be your 14th meeting against Pete Carroll. What does he? I mean, do you kind of know that he knows? I mean, obviously, he doesn't know everything, but I guess, is there a different element in preparing for a team like this? I realize all division teams know each other, but maybe there's another layer to it with Carroll and the Seahawks. I don't know. Does it change anything, or is it a unique situation just because of the familiarity?
I mean, they've changed their coordinators a little bit over these 7 years, so sometimes their scheme changes a little bit, but while when Pete's there, their style is always the same. I mean, they're like him. They play with a certain type of energy. They run around. They make plays. Even if something bad happens, they usually always overcome it. So their style and just how they look and really the character they show on tape is always a huge challenge, and that starts with Pete.